As 2023 begins, Gilbert Verdian offers 4 predictions for the year ahead. The first is about unregulated crypto markets. Hashtag Quant's 2023 predictions. And the quote is, there will be an agreement that the unregulated crypto experiment has failed. And this is interesting.
Bum, bum.
Ladies and gentlemen, Quamrats, welcome to episode 2, the English Quamfy show, the first one of the new year. So happy new year to all of you. Glad you guys are back. As you can see on the website, we have a new trailer in case you are a new subscriber or, well, at least a new viewer because you're not subscribed yet. Otherwise, you would not have seen the trailer. So I'm messing up in the first minute, as is good custom for the Quamfy show. What are we going to talk about today? As you can see in the title, the token supply is 200K tokens more than we always believed there were, which is going to be an interesting discussion. A lot of people already know this, but crypto on exchanges are not safe. And there's a judge made a ruling, and he said exactly that. This does not apply to all exchanges, so make sure to stay tuned to our thoughts on this. Also, Quant Network made some predictions, Gilbert to be specific, about 2023. He has 4 very interesting quotes that we're going to dive into. He made a tweet accommodating that, and Tim was also very happy that Flare has finally did their airdrop, and we're going to have a little look-see into what is going on with that. So we got a packed episode, and thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that if you want to just fly to a specific topic, you can use the timestamps in the comments, in the description to find what you want to look for.
Exactly.
Tim, how's life?
How's life? Well, bumpy, I guess. Can't really be bothered about anything at the moment. Might be my winter dip, winter depression. I don't know. I feel like I'm in hibernation at the moment. Everything is kind of
same last year. You do actually do the winter dip thing.
Yeah, I really do. It's the lack of daylight for me, and just not having a sun, and just waking up. It's dark. You go home. It's dark. I just go in hibernation. That's not meaning that my life is boring at the moment. It's just that I can't really be bothered by anything, and I think that's good, especially given the FUD and the uncertainty that we are in. Yeah, it's okay. I guess that's the definition of Quamfy, and that applies to me. So how's life on your end?
Yeah, I feel the same, man. Can't be arsed or can't be bothered to go with the sentiment, with the. I mean, the bears are running all the chats, and everybody seems to be, well, not everybody, but the vast majority is like, oh, we're going in a bull trap, and we're going into whatever recession and shit. Whilst there's a lot of on-chain stuff actually suggesting that we actually bottomed now, I don't know. What just annoys me is that it feels like there's always a bunch of people trying to keep the sentiment down. I don't know. It might just be people's psychology as well. But besides that just everybody is bearish, I don't really care. I don't really look into things. I mean, price right now, we're going to dive to price after the first topic. But it's well over 100, which is obviously not ideal, but it's a lot fucking better than a lot of other tokens.
Absolutely.
Remember seeing this graph where Quant is actually like down 43% since last year this time.
Yeah,
last year we were at 155, while ETH is down 67.
Let's
Numbers
say
like that.
Yeah, we discussed it in the Dutch episodes last week, and there we stated that we could actually look into it later, but TLDR, Quant did a minus 40%. The S&P 500 did a minus 21%. I think Bitcoin was around minus 64 from the top of my head. So if you look at it from that perspective, I think we were the four best performing crypto, and
in the top 200.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, which was really cool. I'm okay with the price, looking at the market and what everything that's going on. Not worried about CPI and all those other things. I mean, Quant is just doing Quant things, right? And they're on the top of all the lists that are interesting. They are tweeting like mad this week. I believe we already had well over 4 tweets today. Responses to the Americans doing things with CBDCs, the UK doing things with CBDCs. So
constantly about CBDC news.
Yeah, CBDCs are really hot right now, and
they've been for the past couple of years, honestly.
Wow.
But I think they're getting hotter and hotter. That is.
Yeah, and we
sure.
also tweeted something about that today. Can't remember what again. Maybe it was yesterday. Don't look at Twitter that much either. So yeah, man, just taking it easy. Still recovering from a cold. I have a lot of colds. Hey, children, and yeah, man, just playing Assassin's Creed. My actual thumb is getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's, calluses on my thumbs.
I got a voice message just before we got into the show that he said he was in a boss fight and he needed a bit longer. And I think you said that is because in those Assassin's Creed games you don't really have those save points.
Yeah, so, you do have them, but sometimes there are just a lot of cutscenes in between.
Yeah,
and it just takes a long ass time from every now and then. Playing Origins right now, kind of finished. Odyssey, and I'm simultaneously also playing Unity and Valhalla.
I think I did Unity. Is that in France?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I played that one back in 2014, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
I liked it. And then you're on the top of a building, and there's like a haystack. Is that a haystack?
There's a haystack. Yeah.
And you jump in it and you survive.
Yeah, you hear the eagle sound, the leap of faith, man. That's an Assassin's Creed returning thing. That's in every
the thing is,
game.
With Assassin's Creed games, now we're going off topic already, but like you need to sneak on everyone. But I'm like the least sneaky or stealth player.
No.
I just,
bearded axe, heavy armor.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's get to the price action.
No, not the price action. You're skipping ahead again.
Oh,
we are going to have a look at the judge.
Oh yeah.
So this is the meat and potatoes thing. Let me see. Let me share my screen, because a lot of you know not your keys, not your crypto, and this was always true for the maxis, right? But for religious reasons, not really for factual reasons. Well, maybe a bit. I mean, the Mt. Gox thing actually got it all started. Maybe where they went belly up, or they just left and they took everybody's shit. No, they went belly up, didn't they? Something like that. Whatever. Or fraud. I can't remember. I should know this, but I don't. But this is interesting. This is because of Celsius. Judge rules Celsius Networks owns customers' crypto deposits. I'm stammering today, guys. I'm sorry, I don't know why. A federal bankruptcy judge ruled that Celsius Network owns most of the cryptocurrency that customers deposit on its online platform, meaning that Celsius customers will be the last to receive payments from the crypto lender, which is not all that surprising, but a judge ruling that this is the case means it is actually the case. The key takeaways, this is an Investopedia article, by the way. Key takeaways, cryptocurrency lender Celsius Networks assets from its earned product belong to the company rather than the customers, according to a January 4th federal bankruptcy court ruling. Number 2 is the bankruptcy judge ruling indicates that crypto platform customers do not always own their account assets. Separately, New York State Attorney General New York State's Attorney General sued Celsius Network founder Alex Mashinsky for fraud. So what is interesting with this is, one, this is an American company. I think, I'm not even sure. Could be American, could be a tax haven. I should have found
Google it right now.
Yeah, Tim's going to figure this out. Because what is interesting, we made an episode a while back stating that everything that's in the tax haven, like the Seychelles and all those islands that I keep messing up with names of dogs, you're entitled to nothing if they go belly up. And the same goes for Binance and KuCoin. There was a Dutch bank, the Dutch central bank, came with a statement that you're entitled to nothing if they decide not to give you your coins. Even if
apparently. I'm sorry.
Oh,
for interrupting you again. Oh yeah, I actually forgot. Like Celsius went bankrupt, but it's a U.S. company. It's situated in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Yeah. Okay.
Hoboken,
so
is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Hoboken.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
But they're bankrupt. I already forgot about Celsius. I thought it was a pretty decent investment. I don't know.
Yeah, same. Well, what is interesting is that this is a U.S. company, and this is where a lot of people go. See, there you go. All exchanges your coins are not safe there, which is simply not the case. And this is all our opinion, by the way, to a degree. But there are differences. A couple of exchanges that we know, for instance, Kraken. Kraken is a bank. Kraken has a banking license. Coinbase also has separate structures for, at least as far as I know, for the users' funds, meaning that they are not part of the company themselves. And for a US company, apparently this is optional. But if you look at European exchanges, for instance, LCX, CoinMetro, Bitvavo, and Bitcoin Maester, I know those for a fact, they have all the users' funds in a separate foundation. And this is where the nuance begins, because let's say LCX, CoinMetro, or Bitvavo go belly up, they go bankrupt. Same happened to Celsius, so this is a possibility. Not necessarily likely, but a possibility. Then the users' funds cannot be used to pay off their debt, which is a very important nuance.
Yeah.
What you need to do, because you want to make this actionable for you, look at the exchanges where you have your tokens, if at all. And the most safe option, as always, is a ledger, but it's also the most complex and the most complicated option. Chance of mistakes is high for most people, meaning that your tokens are likely safer on an exchange. I know for a lot of people, family, surroundings, friends, they do not want to get bothered with a fucking USB stick and words that they have to put in steel in 3 different places, sacrifice your firstborn child to make sure that everything is safe, all those things. But there are exchanges where you can put your coins relatively safely, but you have to do your research. Stay away from China, in my opinion. Stay away from Seychelles, Cayman Islands. That was the animal that I was...
all those tax havens.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't go there.
Yeah, do your research, because if your tokens are there, KuCoin as an example is on the Seychelles, and Binance, for example, is in China. Who are you going to call?
No, I'm not sure if it's in China, actually. I think it's not, but it's... let me look this up.
He's going to look
Binance, you should know.
I mean, I don't really usually care that much for the exchange fund, but in this case, the Dutch central bank came with a pretty neutral article about crypto exchanges, stating that there are some that are safe and some that are not, and this proves this. I mean, the chief U.S. bankruptcy judge in the Southern District of New York concluded that the deposits in the lender's yield-bearing earn accounts belong to Celsius, not individual account holders. Celsius had 600,000 accounts in its earn program when it filed for Chapter 11 in mid-2022. The accounts collectively held about 4.2 billion, that's with a B, including stable coins, then valued at around 20 million. The article is in the description, and I would highly encourage you to have a look. Use the links, the hyperlinks. Do the research yourself. Don't trust me on my beautiful blue eyes. And have a look, because the implications of this are pretty significant. And there are ways to make better choices. For instance, Kraken and Coinbase have different business models. They have different structures, and there's most likely more that do quote unquote better. And what you then will also see is that as soon as all your funds are no longer on their balance sheet, they will not offer the enormous yields that you can get in a lot of places. Because if they go bankrupt, they cannot use your funds to pay off their debt, right? So the risk is much higher for them than when they have if they have everything in a foundation like they mandatorily do in the EU, for instance. So take this as a word of advice. Do your research, look where your tokens are, and act accordingly, right? Make sure you protect your funds, because it is crazy times right now. Do you have anything to add on this, Tim?
Yeah, well, Binance is situated in the Cayman Islands, so it's not a Chinese. They banned crypto there. Remember, Jarno, we've had China fought like 50 times over and over again. No. They're situated in the Cayman Islands. Did you say that Kraken is a bank already? I'm not sure if you did, but Kraken is a bank. So that also changes the perspective. And I think here in the EU, where we are, you have indeed more regulated players. I think, well, here in the Netherlands,
regulation-wise, we are so far ahead on the US. It's silly.
Yeah, but also in the rest of the world, honestly. And then CoinMetro, I think, is fully regulated and compliant. And there are some other parties. So, well, it really depends from what kind of country you're listening to. But always consider having some part of your, I think that's my advice. At least have some part of your portfolio on an exchange and a regulated one. And just know how to handle a ledger. Because actually misusing a ledger is dangerous, man. You could really mess up. If you make a small mistake, everything is gone. You cannot phone Ethereum when things go wrong. You cannot call Vitalik's customer service. You will literally just lose everything. So be very careful.
Tim and I have both been sweating quite a lot because we both had troubles. With a ledger. Tim had a hardware problem. I had that my ledger reset after an update, meaning that I had to grab my recovery phrase and remember all those things. And that's like a stressful 30 fucking minutes. I'm not gonna lie. On the other hand, things with exchanges have also happened. There's a little bit of nuance, and I know why a lot of people still use the exchanges in the tax havens, and that is exactly because of the yields that they provide and the tokens that they list, right? So if you're in a tax haven and you're not liable for you could go belly up, but it's a limited company, so you're not liable with your personal wealth. That's the whole point of that business model, so that you can take a little bit more risk. But the risk becomes even higher if you can pay off your debt with the user's funds, so they can take even more risk. And you can see that when a new token comes up, which has a lot of volume, they get listed pretty quickly on the Binances, the KuCoins, and a ton of other exchanges that play loose and fast with the rules. And I understand that because then you can get a lot of yield. And I mean, you know, the risk is high, but you accept you lost the money the moment you invested it. But if you then proceed to cash out all your winnings because you're actually gambling and put them into quality tokens, like for instance, QNT, and you decide to leave them on that exchange because you've gambled with so much success in the past, they actually hooked you already. And if they then proceed to make a mistake, which they inevitably will, or the mistakes started to accumulate too much and the lawmaker is coming and they get shut down, you have nothing and they can pay off all their debt with your QNT.
Exactly.
So if you want to gamble, go do your degen crypto thing.
Be degenerate, guys. Come on.
Be degenerate. I mean, we all did it, but make sure that what you want to keep.
And we all lost. Most of us lost.
Yeah. Make sure that what you want to keep, that you siphon that away to either a hardware or a software wallet. MetaMask is perfectly safe if you use your brain. No free tokens, no free NFTs. Do not use them. Do not click them. Do not try to sell them. Do not try to move them. Leave them the hell alone. You can hide them on Etherscan. And if you don't go to Etherscan, you won't even know they're there. I mean, I looked at my wallet. My God, I have well over 50 different NFTs on all my wallets. And I'm not going to interact. You just gotta keep in mind which ones you bought for yourself, if any. So use your brain. And if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. There's no free money, people. Only for the people that are scamming you.
Yeah. I cannot really say anything more. We've had this discussion in the Dutch chat quite a bit. There are these, well, let's call them old school crypto investors. They all have the tendency to go fully into, well, self-custody, put it in a cold storage. And that's fine, that's cool, and that's also what I'm doing. But I just want to have some money in case I need it, that I, well, do not need to go onto my computer, log into Ledger Live, then transfer money from Ledger back to my exchange, and then from my exchange back into my bank account. That is a hassle. And also, actually, one of my friends today, he also had issues with Ledger Live. I don't know what Ledger is doing, but I literally had a ledger that broke on me, and it was that I had the second ledger in my home, but I was freaking out for a bit. So yeah, those were examples.
You didn't get a new one, right?
Actually, I haven't bothered to contact that. Yeah,
you got offered a new one. What?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Hey,
okay, next topic. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so price. What are we doing right now? So what we're seeing here is CoinGecko. This is our preferred tracker.
Yeah, and for your information, we're looking at it on the 10th of January, Tuesday, 10th of January.
Yeah.
At around 9:30 p.m. Central European time.
21:37 CET. Yep. So looking at, there's a lot of more green than the last time. Bitcoin up 4% on the 7-day. The volume is relatively low, 20 million euros. Let's see what we do in burger tokens. 22 billion.
Yeah, Bitcoin always ranges between 20 billion and 50 billion. Always.
Did we speak about the fully diluted market cap?
Not in the English one yet.
Yeah. So CoinGecko now provides the fully diluted value, meaning that if there is a ton of tokens still out of circulation, you can look at the fully diluted value, meaning if all the tokens were on the market, that will be the market cap. Look at XRP. They have a FDV value, so fully diluted value, of 0.51, meaning that 49% is still with the company, or is that 51%? 49 probably.
Yeah.
That's the Quamfy show math for you people.
Around
Looking
half
at
of it is
Ethereum,
still with Ripple.
yeah. So looking at Ethereum, that's a 1-to-1, meaning everything is circulating. And for Bitcoin, it's 0.92. And the rest of the supply will be minted in the coming 130 years, 110.
If that
What is
applies. If that applies. We
What is interesting?
discussed.
There's an article in the description. I highly recommend reading it about how viable Bitcoin will remain for being a store of value. Spoiler alert, it's not, and it has to do with the halvenings happening more frequently, hash rate, and energy costs. Apparently, Bitcoin is bleeding money out of its ecosystem because people need to pay the miners for the electricity use of the miners, to be specific. Read the article, really interesting. And for me, that just underscores what a dinosaur Bitcoin is, and it will not most likely survive another 10 years in good health. But we'll see. So fully diluted value, interesting. XRP 50%, Cardano still 22% not circulating, meaning that the market cap for both XRP is not 16 billion but 33 billion. Cardano is 3 billion short, and there's a bunch of tokens. So have a look at this. Shiba Inu, they don't even freaking show. I don't know why.
You don't even want to know.
You don't want to know. Monero also not visible. It's probably because I don't understand it. There's probably a very logical reason why they do not state this. But I don't know. And then at position 31 under ApeCoin, we find QNT with the whole supply unlocked, which is interesting because there's 1.2 million tokens in the founder's wallet, but those are all unlocked, and they have been for quite some time. The price is 113 euros. And what do we do in burger tokens today? There's always people wanting to know this. 121. Well, that's bullish. Fight me in the comments. Yeah, so looking at last year, price was around 150, and then we went down, all the way to 40. Do you see it happening short term?
I do see some volatility up and down in the short term. But to be fair, we really need to see what will happen. I think what has happened, we're not entirely sure yet, and there could still be more crises on the way, is that everyone is now screaming for a recession, right? And what usually happens is that markets anticipate what the real economy will do. So it might very well be that we have already seen bottom levels everywhere. But yeah, that is complete uncertainty from my end and also from your end, and nobody knows. But I wouldn't be surprised if you look at this in retrospect in 6 or 8 or 10 months and say, hey, actually, we did bottom at the end of 2022 and actually started our recovery all the way into 2023 and further on. That might very well happen. I wouldn't be surprised if that is the scenario, but if we go down a bit more, I also wouldn't be surprised. We just don't really know. I think there are too much variables at play. I think for quants is that we have a lot of variables that we don't even know yet from the company. I mean, there are many updates yet to come. We haven't really seen any updates so far. Although this is being recorded at the beginning of the week, so it could very well happen that when you are watching or listening to us, there might have been an update which might change the pack of cards. We don't really know. I think there are too much variables to make any kind of prediction. But I think
too many variables.
In general, we seem to be bottoming. And
Yeah.
I think that's great. Also, if you look at the wallets, the on-chain activity, I think we're at 110,000 wallets since this week, last week somewhere. And I saw this, I think it's on the Twitter. If you go to our Twitter for a bit.
You want me to do that?
Yeah, I think I retweeted, I'm not sure if I did it, but I think I retweeted a tweet where it said that in the past year or something, that we kind of did. Yeah, here. Good morning, QNT family. Don't forget that the holder count doubled in 2022, while the same amount was gained in 4 years' time.
Yeah.
It says enough. So from 2018 to 2022, we did the same amount of wallets as we did in the entirety of 2022. That's insane.
Yeah. It is. It is. And a lot of those wallets are pretty big ones. Looking in the top 500, top 1000, there's a lot of wallets there. And we're going to dive into that a little bit later, that are not owned by private citizens, which is interesting. There's a lot of custody stuff going on. Obviously, speculation to a degree. But very interesting. Oh, and while we are here, Philo Carrot, Philosophical Carrot, make sure to follow that guy, gal, person on Twitter. The FA that person is dropping is just, it's outrageous. We'll be looking at some of their tweets in the Dutch show, and it's just plain wonderful. There's also some nice anime there, but a lot on LangChain. Very, very good understanding of what is going on with Quant Network and where this space is going. So have a look at his thread. Have a look at his profile and follow them around for sure. Price-wise, Tim, anything interesting you want to add?
The price, not necessarily. I think for the moment we're good, and it could very well change that next week when we look at it, that we're down again or we're a bit more up.
If we're looking at the last 14 days, ever since like January 1st, we're actually in an uptrend.
Yeah, we are.
Which is a little bit sus, if you ask me, because look at the volume spike here, and that was then apparently a turning point for the price. December 31st, 0600, big volume spike up until afternoon.
Yeah.
December 31st.
I think.
And that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, full volume, etc. I don't really care.
This could be that people wanted to get out of positions before January 1st.
Yeah, could very well be.
Yeah, but I think, and now people may be buying back. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's we will never know probably. But what we do know is that we are maintaining these levels at a Bitcoin price of what is it, like 17, 18,000?
20K.
In dollars, 20K.
Yeah.
And then euro.
Didn't we check that like 10 minutes ago?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, the price is 16K. Apologies.
Yeah, in euro. Yeah, in euro.
Yeah, 60 euros, and in dollars then we'll be at what, 17 something?
Yeah, 17K. Yes. So can you imagine that these are bottom levels for Bitcoin, and we are still around 113. So like if we triple this, we are back at all-time high, guys. And Bitcoin isn't
needs
even
to triple as well.
Yeah.
Your all-time high was 65.
No, it's 69.
Oh.
Anyway, I mean, this is looking pretty good for us in any case, and like
Bitcoin is down 74.7% from all-time high.
Yeah.
And good old Quant, 71.6.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's from all-time high. So looking at
Yeah,
last
that's
year,
that wake
January.
to the upside. I mean, nobody really catch that 424 wake. Okay. Anyway,
Visually.
yeah, fair enough. But if you look at it from that perspective, we are doing well. We are doing reasonable, and I think there is way more upside than there is downside at the end of the day. And gambling on things to go even further south are getting increasingly risky as time goes on, because markets eventually bottom, and the amount of money to be made to the downside is most probably significantly smaller than it is to the upside.
Yeah,
because everyone is betting for the downside, and
Yeah.
not a lot of people are betting for the upside. And as soon as everyone is betting for the upside, there is much more money to be made for the downside. So
yeah, we are advocates for the DCA.
Yeah.
Hodl till you can't hodl anymore. I need
Just
to
chill.
buy a new washing machine and a new dryer. So
Yeah.
I DCA'd a bit out.
yeah,
It is what it is.
but also kind of look into other projects. I mean, around these levels, you know. I mean, do with other stuff as well. There are a lot of gems for sale at the moment. Just go and look. I think the people who are here now, who are listening to us, they will be the ones making money when everyone will be screaming to buy Bitcoin again in the future. Okay, we're going for the next topic, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm kicking down open doors. I feel like it's like a broken record.
As 2023 begins, Gilbert Verdian offers 4 predictions for the year ahead. The first is about unregulated crypto markets. Hashtag Quant's 2023 predictions. And the quote is, there will be an agreement that the unregulated crypto experiment has failed. And this is interesting.
Bum.
Dum, dum, dum. So the unregulated crypto experiment has failed. Why? Well, he gives the example of FTX, Terra losing his UST peg, and regulation is being called for. Risk mitigation is needed. Rules are needed. This is something that Gilbert has been drumming on for years. And we are now seeing the need for this. We just spoke about this in the beginning of the episode. If you skipped to this point using the timestamps, go back and listen to our little rant on exchanges and the risks that come with this. They are illustrating that very thing. The risks that you run with crypto and the exchanges right now is very asymmetrical when you look at stocks and the guarantees that you have there, same as the guarantees with the bank to a degree, and nothing is 100 points for everything. Obviously, there's always trade-offs. But it is time for sure to start protecting the people funding projects, right? You cannot just go on a cash grab anymore. And Gilbert elaborates on this.
You can, but you'll end up as SBF.
Yeah. What's the status on him right now?
That's one of the other things I don't really care about. Like, he was on bail and now he's in jail again. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
2022 has made us hardened as veterans. I think last week we were looking at some kind of tweet where it said, hey, if you're still here, good on you, because you survived FTX, you survived Luna, and then there was something like AC3 or something. I didn't even know what it was, but apparently it's crashed last year.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's on a side note.
No, man. There are so many things falling over. It's just, I mean, it's almost like a war zone. There are so many atrocities
Yeah.
war crimes. There's so much death and murder and famine going around that you cannot even keep up. And
No.
I choose to be on a mainstream media diet. I've been doing that for well over at least 8 years now. I don't follow mainstream media. I don't get spoon fed, and it saves me a lot of headache. And yes, I do not know anything anymore, but things I do want to know, I just look up instead of being force fed with all the bullshit and stupidity that goes on in the world. And one of these things is all this shit in crypto. Thank God we have a couple of very faithful members in our community that love digging around in the cistern and in the trenches of crypto and producing all the garbage that we're trying to avoid. Did you look at this? Did you look at this?
and to be clear, like, it's not, we're not denying that those things happen. It's very real, but just well, do we have any impact on it? I don't really think so. Talking about Warzone, like, do you know the Call of Duty, like the battle royale concept?
I have it downloaded. I haven't played it.
Okay, well, that's kind of I mean, it would act as an example, and then Overledger is like, no, like we with Quant, we're still in the. You need to be in the circle, right? And then as time goes on, we're still in the circle. We survive, and at the end of the day,
okay, so Warzone is kind of PUBG-ish.
Yeah, exactly. It's like PUBG. So we are still in this after 2022. Sorry, we are still in that circle. We survived.
Nice.
We made our way in.
Yeah. The circle is getting smaller rapidly.
The circle is definitely getting smaller.
And what Gil says, the upside, right? So, for example, in case
with a capital C, circle, for the real insiders.
In cases where startup funding is limited to a small pool of sophisticated liquidity providers, tokenization and the right regulatory framework could enable smaller investors new promising opportunities. Improve the access to illiquid assets. Regulation is going to be really important when you look at NFTs. Thinking about Galileo, the regulation is very unclear, even in the EU, for a lot of things. And there needs to be clarity. And without the clarity, enterprises will not just hop in, right? Because they are very much at risk if regulation does start peaking around the corner. And it's already scratching at the corners. It's just not peaking yet. But if you then have all your stuff tokenized, and fractionalization becomes a problem, for instance, because that's going to get regulated, then your company could go belly up, maybe. I don't know, just speculating here, just trying to come up with an example. But as long as that uncertainty is there, even though everybody kind of knows where it's going, you cannot take the risk because your board of directors will simply not go on board with that. So that's what we're waiting for. The second point of Gilbert: banks and asset managers will scramble to recruit blockchain specialists. And this is interesting because Gilbert stated last year that only like 1% of all the developers in the world are actually qualified and trained for blockchain, DLT, etc. So there's a lot of scarcity there.
Yeah.
And a developer trained in specific DLT can cost over $100K per year. Yet their skills are not always transferable to other DLT or redeployable to non-DLT projects. But as the world grapples with another recession, financial services businesses will certainly be examining how to save money. Blockchain could save billions. Which is really nice because what Quant is doing is they're offering this turnkey solution, right? So especially with the Oracle stuff and such, if you're a company and you want your entire infrastructure to move to DLT, you can. And the subscriptions are most likely not cheap, but if you pay $100K for a subscription for 1 year, you could have also hired one blockchain dev that then needs to do everything, and you're not multi-chain or whatever. And now you pay a license, and I'm just guessing and gambling here, right? Now you pay a license for 100K. Let's say you're a small company. Let's say you're the Quamfy show. You want to decentralize and you want to work from the cloud, and you pay 100K, and you can just type in plain text or use one of 12 languages that you know, and you can get your entire infrastructure moved onto DLT. How fabulous is that? That you can just opt for specific options like you can in Windows. You can just download an app or an API, whatever you want to call it. And you can just expand your program easily without the need for a specialist. And that's what Quant's obviously offering. Really interesting. CBDCs, we spoke about this in the beginning. Tim hates it. Not CBDCs, but the discussion. CBDCs will become politicized, but will ultimately prevail. And this is what you can see in the comments about.
That's exactly my point. Like, we can say everything about it, but they will ultimately they will be there. It will just take a long time.
Yeah, they're inevitable. They're truly inevitable, and because there is so much upside. And I'm trying to look. Quant retweeted something, and they forgot to turn off comments. And within a couple.
That's nice.
Here, if CBDC is to be adopted, it must be properly configured and implemented as critical national infrastructure, protected as existing payment systems, and be scalable, interoperable, and comply with anti-money laundering solutions. Gilbert Verdian tells the American bankers, John Adams. Comment section. Quant is my Bitcoin. It must be properly configured. Says all about CBDC. Or we just use USDC, okay? For something that sinister, there is no room in the free world. It goes against everything crypto culture is built on. Freedom, decentralization, personal sovereignty. These power-hungry institutions, GVTs and central banks, will do anything to increase their power and control. So, if as if they're not coming, it's
well, isn't that the entire shit? Here we go again. Isn't that the entire point of a CBDC, that you can program it in any way you want? So if you're like a totalitarian government, you could literally spy on all your citizens, and well, if you don't want all of that, you just turn those marks off in the settings area. And you can just roll out a different configuration. So that's the entire point.
Yeah. So to continue, CBDCs will become politicized, but will ultimately prevail. 19 of the G20 nations are now piloting CBDC projects, which means governments will rightly need to address public concerns around individual privacy as part of broader education around the potential benefits of CBDCs.
That's interesting. So there's one G20 country that's not doing it.
Yeah.
Which one is it? But I'll look it up. I'll look it up for you guys.
We predict further political grandstanding on the issue, especially in the US, where Libertarian and Republican senators have already spoken out against the introduction of CBDCs. Their position is in stark contrast to the prevalence of CBDCs in China, where the digital yuan has seen transaction volumes surpass 14 billion. However, democratic nations will need to compete as the world changes and CBDCs become part of international trade, financing, and cross-border settlements. Yeah, and not going to rehash everything we said in the previous episodes, but if the EU is coming with the digital euro, every country will need and want to have their say on what the digital euro can and cannot do. And it is not a giant cabal of corrupt people looking to steal your data. You are not important at all. But everybody will have their say, and everybody will have to look at the code, and everybody will, even the people in government are not there forever, and they are also part of the public. So majority vote will most likely go for the benefit. And I'm, like you guys know, I wear pink glasses all the time. But there's going to be a lot of eyes on this, and a lot of the code will be visible, and there's always a black and a white, and a gray area always wins. It is never one or the other, but we will see. They have been working on this for a long time, and Quant is front and center of this. What did you want to say about this?
No, sorry, I'm sorry for. Actually, I looked it up, and actually, the G20 consists of 19 countries in the EU. So, if it says that 19 of the G20 countries are involved with building a CBDC, that actually means that all G20 nations are involved, because the European Union as such is also part of it. That makes it the 20th. So there are 19 countries and EU, which is kind of interesting.
It's really interesting.
There's a Gilbertism for virtually everyone is doing it. No.
Interesting.
Okay.
No, it's great. I
Is
think
that
that's.
Is that the fourth and final prediction, or do we have one more?
The links between chains will be strengthened, improving trust. Cross-chain bridge hacks were, sadly, commonplace through 2022, with estimated losses running to billions of pounds. Bridges are the way to facilitate the transfer of information and assets from one blockchain to another. And so these hacks threaten public trust in the usefulness of blockchain. There was a reason for this. Bridges have fewer participants and operators than major networks, offering more vulnerabilities for an attack, blah, 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 blah. Cross-chain, multi-chain, there's a difference. And smart contracts should be externally validated, burn mint instead of lock mint workflows, multiple signature schemes, etc. Quant has a solution for this. But in 2023, we will see the widespread introduction of some of these cybersecurity principles and safe custody solutions, with regulations catching up. So all in all, Gilbert's predictions have been featured in Financial IT, FinExtra, FinTech Future, Investment Monitor, and Retail Banker International. The link to this article is in the description. Make sure you open the article and you have a look at the publications in those financial, how do you call them, magazines? Yeah, magazines. You can dive in for yourself, put on your tinfoil hat where applicable, and let your inner Calimero have a go.
Yeah.
Now, it's
I think.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I think with the predictions that we just did, see, I'm already skipping over the CBDC part. I actually discovered that Greece isn't building a CBDC, so you might move there and escape the tyranny. Okay, sorry. And actually, they have good food, so just move to Greece, man. Yeah. Okay.
A lot of meat. It's not for you, man.
Huh? Yeah, true. But I think there's also some very good other food. Anyway, I think. Well, the argument that they make a bit earlier in that article, well, at least in those predictions, is that they are now playing the recession cards, and they're saying, hey, this is also not necessarily bad for us, because it means that companies will move into blockchain, and more blockchain or DLT usage is going to be good for us, because that means that more traffic is coming there. Actually, it doesn't really matter for Quant, because wherever data is going, Overledger will be in between it. But if there is more DLT usage, and companies will need more plug and play solution, because that lessens their dependence on expensive data centers and all that other stuff that comes with it, and also taking into consideration that there is a shortage of developers, that they're actually turning this, oh, the world is going to hell, the world is going to hell in a handcart idea. It's not necessarily bad for us.
No. And what is really interesting, right? Quant is working in data. Yeah, we're not payments, we're not XRP, we're not Bitcoin. We do not try to be, they do not try to be, want to be, aspire to be the new money. That's not the point. Open ledger is about data, Internet of Things, supply chain, but also money, right? And they can do it all. And if there's a recession or a depression or another black swan or whatever you want to call it, it's not going to change a goddamn thing, because the world will keep turning and everything will eventually recover. Look at history. Look at the past 100 years. There were
even the ozone layer is healing. That was recently in the news. That's not me making the. Actually, in a couple of decades, the ozone layer will be fully recovered.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's fucking good news.
Yeah, there is some good news sometimes.
Yeah, but the good news doesn't sell. Nobody gives a shit. Anyway, if you look 100 years back from now, and you put the chart to logarithmic, you'll see that it's just going up and up and up. Always, everything will recover. And back in the 20s and 70s and the 90s and then in the 2000s, every time everybody's, oh, we're gonna die, it's never gonna recover. People killing themselves, jumping from buildings, blah blah blah. Hey, it's gonna be okay. It really is. Eventually, it's gonna recover, and data will keep flowing. Companies will keep working. Some will go out of business, as is the natural thing of life. Everything that gets born dies. That's how it goes, and that's just fine. So do not worry. Do research.
Yeah, well, if although I mean, if you're the last ever investor in Quant and you're at the site where it dies, then you should worry. But then there will be new chances.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tim,
yeah.
How many tokens are there on exchanges? This is the next chapter.
Yeah. Well, at first, like 2 hours ago, barely 2 hours ago, like 1 hour and 1 hour and 30 minutes ago, I would have said 14.6 million. But at this point,
how many tokens are on exchanges? On exchanges. We're going to get to the supply in a bit.
Yeah. I think I'm also making notes at the moment, so let me think out loud.
Yeah.
I think there's like I've seen this. It would be a good pub quiz question about OpenLedger. Don't be in my team. I would have no clue.
Write down in the comments.
I think there's like 2.2 million.
A little bit more. A little bit more. Yeah. So if we look here, this is a graph made by Sebastian. He's in the Telegram under Sebastian. I believe Hungarian Horntail also had a hand in this, but this is the summary, and I know this might not be readable very well, but if you look at this, and I'll just read up the numbers.
It's 2.9.
Yeah, it's 2.952, 403.97. So there's almost 3 million tokens on exchanges.
Okay, so I was off by a margin of 700,000. That's not too bad.
That thought, 700,000 tokens is not that bad. So if we look at how many were on exchanges on August 3rd, 2022, there were 3.6 million on exchanges. So right now, there's 2.9 million on exchanges. If you look at Coinbase, they had 1.4 million in August, and they have 1.2 million now. Binance had 800K, now has 600K. KuCoin had 267K, now have 194K. CoinMetro had 207K, now has 146K. Kraken has 84K, had 73K. Uniswap had 6,000, now has 16,000. And what that tells me is that a lot of people have been taking their tokens off exchanges. A lot of people have been putting them on Uniswap, putting them on ledgers and such, which is not crazy, right? Looking at what happened with FTX and Celsius and all those others that died. People have been waking up, and what you can see now, the percentage supply that's on exchanges was 25-ish, and is now 20-ish.
Yeah.
This most likely does not include all the custody. Could be that it doesn't include the custody at all. I don't know. What is interesting is that Coinbase has double the amount of tokens that Binance has. I think that's interesting. I think because Binance is supposed to be the biggest and the grandest, blah, blah, blah. Well, we know that Coinbase has their custody solutions. Sebastian most likely took into account the custody wallets as well. Regardless, 1.2 million tokens on Coinbase alone, 3 million in total.
Yeah, one way or the other, it means that people have more faith in Coinbase than Binance. Because
yeah, right.
I think in
So.
terms of volume and well, total worth of the company, I think Binance is bigger than Coinbase.
Yeah.
But yeah, Coinbase has a much better reputation than Binance. And they also offer the Coinbase custody. Anyway.
Yeah. And what is also interesting is Gemini had 60K tokens. They have their total because they're now on 32. I don't know why that's because that's a lot fewer than they had. Kraken actually increased.
Yeah.
They increased.
Or bank has increased. Yeah.
Yeah, they increased their stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
and Kyber is still the same. Kyber has no change. So those tokens are there forever, right? That's just like 8.7K tokens. Somebody lost their keys. Right? If there's no change, it will over 5 months.
Binance US is also interesting. It started at 0. And now, since when it starts? Somewhere halfway January, 10th of November. 10th of November, they started. And they now have around, they started at 5,000 QNT, roughly. And then now roughly doubled it towards 10,000 QNT.
Yeah.
So there are some people actually bringing their QNT to Binance US.
Yeah.
Interesting movements, man. I find it fascinating that community members, Sebastian in this case, well, keep doing this. It gives us an excellent insight into what's happening in
5% decrease in tokens on exchanges. And what my hypothesis is just speculation, right? Is there's a 5% decline in how many tokens are on exchanges. I think that the custody wallets are mostly included. If that's the case, and we look at how many individuals have taken their stuff off of exchanges, right? Looking at all the others, how much decline they had, and Coinbase staying relatively the same, that there's a lot of new custody wallets that added QNT because, like I said, they only lost like 200K. I don't know how many percent that is, but if you look at Binance also lost 200,000. I wonder what that is percentage-wise. But they took away on one part and then they got deposited on the other hand, it feels. And this is only 4 months. Anyway, that's even too much speculation for us right now. But then the supply. So what they did, and if you just chimed in, Tim will make a timestamp of this so people can skip to this. If you just chimed in, we've been talking about what was on exchanges, and now we are seeing the wallet numbers, number of QNT, the percentage of the max supply that they have, and what it adds up to. So this is exchange and retail wallets on the left, and on the right is without exchange wallets. And what you see here is that the total number of QNT adds up to 14,881,391.4 0.41 QNT. That's not 14.6 million. That's a difference of well over 200K tokens. How? Why? Well, another community member has been doing research for a while. And he contacted me about these numbers like 3-4 months back. Was like, hey, Jarno, I'm looking into this. I'm not sure if I can drop his name. I mean, it's his finds on one hand, but on the other hand, this got published. I'm not sure if he was aware of this, but the numbers are out. But he found the same thing, and
I didn't know. This is literally the first time I'm hearing about this.
Yeah,
I've been sleeping. I've literally been sleeping and everything.
Nobody apparently.
It's just that I'm in hibernation.
Nobody apparently, since the inception of Quant, ever ran the numbers. Nobody ever went on a block explorer and added up all the wallets. Well, these two gentlemen, they are gentlemen, did. And I know they did the research over multiple block explorers because there can be discrepancies between one and the other. And one of them used at least 3 block explorers to verify the data. And it adds up to 14.9 million and not 14.6. So somewhere in the past, a mistake has been made. And we can only speculate on how and why and by whom and God knows what else. I prefer not to go there because we don't have all the information. You can use the comment section for discussion if you think that's interesting. Regardless, there is 200K tokens more than we believed. And Tim, how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't worry because those 200K tokens are ours, so it doesn't really matter for the rest of the community. And trust us, guys, we won't dump on you. No,
tokens were,
I don't know.
Tokens were always there. They were always there, right?
Yeah, I feel feels kind of weird somewhere knowing that there are more tokens while everyone has been saying that there were 14.6 million tokens, including Gilbert and the team and everyone in their direct family. But somehow we have all been wearing a weird kind of QNT gloss, and everyone has just completely ignored what has been going on. And that is fascinating. It just goes on to prove that we shouldn't always have this tunnel vision. Because things might not exactly be as they are. Well, yeah, that happened here. And, well, congratulations to the people who discovered this. And it also goes to show how deeply our community is looking for these kind of discrepancies, right? So we really try to disprove our own thesis. Like, there must be something off. And this is one of the things, apparently. Yep. But all in all, it means that there are 200,000 more tokens than we always thought. And that's not necessarily good. On the other hand, everyone has been making their calculations based on that old numbers while effectively nothing changed, right? Those tokens were always there. We just didn't know. Nobody noticed.
Yeah, the tokens were always there. And the distribution has remained the same. There have been no tokens minted. The smart contract self-destructed after ICO. So that's not possible. There was a miscalculation or a guesstimation after the burn. That's the running hypothesis. And I'll try and get the individual that figured this out initially on the show to dive in deeper. Because he also dove into the discussion in the Telegram main channel. Link is in the description. You can actually go back and look for token burn. And then you can actually read the discussion there. It got pretty heated. And eventually the outcome was, okay, so there's 14.6 million tokens. Well, there's 14.88. And again, how that happened, to me, it's not really relevant. Nothing changed. Upside, the team has a lower percentage of the supply now because those 200K tokens were not with the team. The team wallets are known, and they have a wallet with about 67,000 tokens and a wallet with about 1.2 million.
Yeah, I think so.
1.2.
But I do wonder if we go to CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap.
They read 14.6, and CoinMarketCap reads 45. Yeah, it's
So
just a copy paste from what the company added.
So the company is wrong. It's that is interesting.
Yeah,
It's interesting for sure. Like that nobody noticed.
it is.
I mean, we can make everything we want of it, but it's a pretty stupid mistake.
It is, but again, to me, it is also very irrelevant. Yes,
in the grand scheme of things, it is indeed.
You have a smaller percentage of the entire supply right now, but you always had the same percentage. So it doesn't change a damn thing except how we
Or perception.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah. Oh, sorry.
But does that mean, I mean, theoretically, that we do all the trackers, do they see every single QNT? Is it not that something appears out of the blue?
No, but nobody ever did the crawling. Maybe because it wasn't possible, maybe because they didn't have the tools or didn't have the time, or people are like, eh. But yeah, this took quite a bit of work, because you cannot simply get the CSV file. I understood that if there's more than 100,000 wallets, that some block explorers do not accept that anymore, that you can read the last wallets. I don't know. We need to get the people on that did the digging.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, still it would mean that the company has been off by a margin of more than 200,000. That is significant. Like for, well, the mathematicians that are on board, I don't know what they've been doing.
No.
I mean, it's pretty obvious, and that that is messy for sure.
Yeah, it is sloppy.
It's sloppy. Yeah, messy is someone I don't want to talk about anymore. Okay,
yeah, no, it's sloppy.
Yeah.
But these are the facts. Yeah, blockchain does not lie, and I'm curious if someone the team sees this, if there will be a statement.
Give us some QNT. I mean, there's more than we always thought. So please compensate all the holders. Give us all two quant. There's like 110,000 holders. Hey, Gilbert, just give us 2 extra quant and we're fine. And things are settled between you and me, between us, right?
Anyway,
just airdrop them into our MetaMask.
Do you have anything to add, Tim?
Just looking at the content we prepared, which I usually don't do. I'm just talking to a camera and I'm staring at you. I'm not sure actually. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I asked a question on my Twitter if there's anything we should cover, and somebody asked about events, and I have no clue.
Yeah, that's a honest answer.
Yeah, I have no clue, and until now I didn't really care. We can look into this, maybe. I'm not really sure why it's interesting. I know that there's a couple of things coming up in March, maybe something. I noticed that Galileo was talking about the listing on LCX for their tokens in a couple of days. So that could mean that there's an update coming for tokenize. I don't know. We know that LagChain is going to produce the Latin American CBDC eventually. And there's most likely a couple of things coming up where Quant will be presenting. But as long as I am in the project, there has not been an actual public event which produced something really super interesting for us investors. And yes, it produced things that are super interesting, but nothing that actually translated into more hype or price appreciation or other stuff like this. And some people will argue, meet me in the comments. So I don't know. And I want to suggest that if you guys have some topic, or maybe an individual, maybe another YouTuber you want us to talk to, maybe pick their brain, look at what they're doing, what they're investing, how they're thinking about other projects, let us know. And we're gonna look to collaborate more this season and in the future. We need to get it started, get the ball rolling a bit. So if you guys have any suggestions, let us know. I will do our best to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, to answer the actual question, I forgot to share the Jonas question on our other media. Also, not entirely accidentally, like my Instagram following always consists of brightest of minds asking the most brilliant,
the denizens of Instagram,
wonderful questions to us. No, but to answer your question, I think we will know when events are coming up, especially with Quant's Twitter activity. They will be tweeting about it all day long as soon as they come up. And I think we will have Cybers again later this year. We will have Cloud World. We will have the Cordacon in August. We will just
maybe
see
a
all those
QuantX.
events. Maybe a QuantX. That is still, I think, in the books. Is that the right way to say it? Like,
I mean, know.
No, I mean, at least it's something that might happen. Gilbert stated in his LCX interview in 2021 that it's 2021 already. Whoa. That they were looking forward to do a future QuantX or Quant hackathons. And I don't see why it wouldn't happen in the coming years or even this year already.
When gateways.
They have some stuff up their sleeve and we will just have gateways.
To see. When gateway.
When gateway, yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. It's gonna be painful. Okay. I can see that being delayed again.
H1
of this century, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere between the 1st of 2000, 1st of January 2000 and the
within 27 years will most likely
see gateways. Yeah. Oh, they might be postponed until H2.
Yeah. Okay. They actually wrote the tweet 20 times already, but that they just keep messing up.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, but I think in 2 weeks' time, when you hear us again, we might have a new update. I hope, at least. We will see activity from Galileo in the meantime, being our QRC 20 partner. I think they're gonna do some pretty epic stuff.
They're not partners, they're customers.
They are. I'm sorry for the mess up. That's a Quamfy show, uninformed, messy, trashy, sloppy, ill-advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, listening. Give us a follow, give us a comment. Let us know if you think there's anything we can improve upon. And,
well, at least our information. No, I think
if you want to be on the show, please go to thequamfyshow.com. Or quamfyshow.com or .nl. And fill out the form. We have a contact form, and if you send us a request, you can also contact us through Telegram, which is lovely. You can find us in the Dutch group Quamfy Lounge, and we'll have a talk. Yeah,
definitely. So, and there is still plenty to talk about at the very end. I've seen some brilliant new content from other people in the space. I saw a tokenizer interview with someone from Alliance Block, I believe.
Rashid the Judja.
Yeah, I saw it, and there are some other examples of people still doing magnificent work. So hit us up. We're willing to talk.
For sure.
We'll see you soon.
In the meantime, stay quamfy.